Welcome, folks, to the LWC Roadmap session. Before we get into things, as always, please base your purchasing decisions off what's already generally available. And we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of the day, coming to our session. We appreciate it. Also, thank you, Ben. If you didn't know, that's Ben up there on the top left. He got on the overall thank you slide, so we thought we'd put it up there as a joke. My name is Clay Martin. I'm a PM on the platform team here at Salesforce for Lightning Web Components as well as Lightning Base Components. I'm also working on some of the Axle stuff you guys saw in the keynote. Ben?
Hey everybody, I'm Ben Sklar. I'm a director of product management. I'm the product lead for UI API, the Lightning Data Service, the GraphQL API, and I also work on Agentforce Vibes.
Hi everyone, I'm Shalini Jain, Director of Product Management for Mobile Platform Experiences at Salesforce.
Awesome. We got a bunch of different things to showcase to you today, but one of the things, this was at one of the sneak peeks, you might have seen it, is Salesforce Release Manager. It's a new way for us, Salesforce folks, to release features out for y'all to use. Inspired by web browsers, if you're familiar with Chrome Canary, Dev, Firefox Nightly, et cetera, it's that type of concept but within inside of an org. And so then we can take features and we can tie them to the specific channels that we want and then release and promote them across channels as those features get baked. Why is this important? Well, first of all, feature promotion allows us to preview these features early. And for folks with your orgs, your sandbox org or your scratch orgs, you can actually go into setup, enable a channel, and test those things out early. Likewise, validation. So for things like deprecations or things where we're going to be announcing like a year out, we're planning to deprecate a feature, this allows you and us to put that deprecation out in the channel early and give you more than just the 2 weeks in sandbox you might be used to when the release actually hits. We can actually put it out there early, give you a full year of actually validating before we deprecate. Likewise, the last thing is feature overrides. Feature overrides are effectively per feature as well inside the channel, but this enables us to expose a toggle that you can actually turn off and on features inside of the dev channel and control it there. So with that, I just want to jump right into a quick demo. And so here I have an org set up, and you can see by default we have 2 channels here where this is going beta in summer 26. But we have the standard channel. That's effectively like the Chrome release that you're used to. This is what all orgs will be defaulted to. But we also have a dev channel that you can see right here. And if I go ahead and select it for my org, you'll get a confirmation prompt. Are you sure you want to do this? Once you confirm that, you'll get a notification at the top. Refresh the page. And now your org is running inside of our dev channel. All features that are associated with the channel are now active. You already noticed one of them here. This is not a real feature. This is a demo feature. We're not changing our UI. But in this case, we have a fluid UI feature running and replacing the regular UI and look and feel of our cards. And when you're in the dev channel, when I mentioned those feature overrides, that's what this section is about. So you'll see if you expand that the team for the fluid UI demo put a nice little toggle in here. It's set to default. But you can actually go through, disable the feature. You'll get another notification, refresh the page. And that feature is now disabled while still staying on the dev channel. So you can validate other things. If there's a feature causing problems, turn it off, continue validation, keep going. Likewise, you can go explicitly enable features as well. And same thing, it's all handled within a page refresh client side. So now that feature is running again. And if this is in like a sandbox org and you want to swap it back, you only have one sandbox org, so you want to check this out, but then you want to turn it off. It's also just as simple as selecting the channel, confirming the prompt, refreshing the page. Any users on the org also refresh the page at that point. So this is a new way that some of our developer features are going to be going out. So that's SRM. Another feature we have going GA in summer 26 is template expressions. You might be familiar with these. Template expressions allows you to do simple JavaScript expressions inside of your HTML. This allows you to streamline, reduce some of the code you're writing in your components JavaScript file. Instead, just put that right inside your HTML, and you can do some nice little logic as well. So I want to jump right into a demo with that as well. Here, you can see I have a little demo of a sushi shop. I would not recommend buying sushi this way. But if you did, you can see I can add to cart here, remove from cart, et cetera. We got some basic functionality, but all of this is actually done via, template expressions. So the username at the top in my JavaScript file, you can see all I've defined is a user and an item count variable. And if I go back to my HTML, you can actually see at the top here, I'm able to reference those properties directly in the template, string concat, et cetera. I'm able to increment the item count when you click add to cart. So add to cart is actually just calling that template expression. Likewise, decrement when you click remove from cart. Likewise, you can even set disabled states and do simple evaluations. So when there's nothing to remove from the cart, you can go ahead and disable that button so it can't be clicked, right? And you can even do simple ternary operations. So you can see down here, this text on the right, no items selected. When I add to cart, right, once that's greater than 0, we're gonna go ahead and show the item count plus a different string. And then when it goes back down, once again, it's there. Checkout button, same thing. So those are template expressions. Those are going GA in summer 26, so here shortly. And you can try them out today. They're already beta for spring 26. Awesome. One last one, Lightning Out 2.0 went GA in winter 26. And coming out with summer 26, we're going GA for experienced sites. So with no authentication required either. So if you have like login or things like that inside of iframes, you can actually, for your experienced sites, you can put those inside of Lightning Out Experience, and users can go use that without having to auth. So that's one of the big things we're announcing for Lightning Out, alongside support for SLDS 2. And with that, I will hand it off to Ben.
Thanks, Clay. All right, let's talk about state management for LWC. But before I dive into that, I just want to call out the LWC developer survey that you all have been taking the last few years. We have a survey at our LWC booth downstairs. So if you haven't taken it already, you should check out the booth and take the new survey. We're going to have a more comprehensive survey going out a little bit later as well. But this really tells us, what do you want to see next for LWC? Now, over the last few years, state management has been your top ask. So almost 50%, almost half of respondents asked for state management. And I'm super excited to announce we are GAing state management for LWC in the summer release. This is already available in beta today, so you can try it. But as of summer, this will be GA. If you're familiar with other frameworks like React, you might have used Redux, which is the state management library for React. Well, now we have very similar syntax inside of LWC, so you can use state management for LWC. This prevents us from having to do something called prop drilling. So if you've ever created an app with a lot of components and you wanted to share data between those components, you probably had some LWC at the top level of your app, and then all of the other components kind of were in a tree below it. So you have the parent component, and then you're bringing the data down to those children, and if you wanted to update that, a different component on the page, you might have to send an event up to the parent and then update it there and then send it down. So we can use now best practices by having a state manager for LWC. So you can finally separate your data or the state from the component presentation. You don't have to do prop drilling or eventing up anymore. And by doing this, you'll have performance benefits out of the box. And this is truly best practice when it comes to data management for your apps. So let's see a quick demo. All right, so I'm gonna share an app built by one of our customers, Northern Trail Outfitters. And here we have a store, and we can go ahead and put an item on sale. I'm gonna empty the cart, I'm gonna add to the cart. Notice the cart grows, and if I change the item, this one is on sale. Okay, it went up by that amount. Let us pick something else. Let's put a sale on that. Let's change this. Notice we can add plenty of things to the cart. All right, but that's probably not the most interesting thing. So what I want to show you all is the actual state manager at play here. So we're going to look quickly at some of our Lightning Web components. So I'm in the app right here. I'm creating my state manager here. Let's actually look at that really quickly. So we have our state manager that we're creating here with a bunch of functions as well. What's on sale, the price of the current item. We create that in the state manager. And then we go to our components, we can actually see that they're referencing the state manager. So you might be familiar with wire adapters through the Lightning Data Service. Well, now you can just reference the state manager here instead of an @wire. And again, you don't have to make these really big component trees. You can use a state manager and have all the components reference that. So just to kind of show you visually what we were seeing, we now have this state manager for the shop in which some of the components on the page, like the app, the details, the cart, they all reference that state manager that we created to get the data, but they can also update the data from those components. It's a much better experience for all of you out there. The other thing I want to call out, this is coming in the future. Some of these are already available in summer release. Some will be in the future. We are creating state manager equivalents for all the wire adapters that we have. So all the UI API, wire calls, our GraphQL API, we have a GraphQL wire adapter. Everything will be usable via a state manager, either already available in summer or coming in the future. And since I brought up GraphQL, let's talk about GraphQL mutations. So how many of you have actually used the Salesforce GraphQL API? Show of hands. OK, actually a decent amount of you, but not everyone. For those of you who haven't used it, maybe you've never even heard of GraphQL, it's just a standard query language for APIs, and it really gives you all the power. So I'm going to just share an anecdote. I joined Salesforce about 4.5 years ago as the product manager for UI API. And I heard from a lot of you out there about wanting these new bespoke UI APIs for your specific use cases. But once we launched the GraphQL API, all of that ended because you can use GraphQL and tailor it so that you're requesting the exact thing that you need. You request the data you need. You don't need to overfetch or underfetch data. We don't need to create bespoke APIs for your use cases. You can use this and customize it to how you need. So that's the power of GraphQL. And further, if you don't know what record IDs that you need, like you don't need to write a SOQL query and get those record IDs, you can just make a GraphQL query, give me all of my accounts above $100,000, and boom, you'll get back that data. Makes it a lot easier. But what we were missing were GraphQL mutations. And I'm super excited to announce that in the summer release, GraphQL mutations are finally GA. So now, with our GraphQL wire adapter, we can not just read GraphQL, but now we can create, update, and delete records. And we even have bulk updates. So we can do bulk updates and tree saves for LWC, and this makes it a much better experience for all of you. You don't have to mix and match APIs. You can do everything from GraphQL if you want to. Let me show a quick demo. All right, so we are looking at, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, our GraphQL case manager. And so I'm using GraphQL to retrieve all the data in this LWC that we see here. And I can go ahead and create a new case. So TDX case. And go ahead and save that. It shows up right here at the top. We're retrieving it now with GraphQL, and I also created it using GraphQL mutations. And I can also delete it as well. You can even edit some of these if you want to. So let's look at the code here. So what I want to showcase is it's very, very simple to get started. All you need to do is import execute mutation from Lightning GraphQL. And I'm going to show, here is our execute mutation right down here. And it's as simple as that. So definitely try this out. We're excited to hear from you about GraphQL mutations. All right, let's talk a little bit about Agentforce Vibes. I'm sure you've heard about this a lot here at TDX. I want to share a few more exciting things that Vibes can do for us. So again, I'm sure you've heard about Vibes, but if you haven't, it's really your Salesforce AI coding partner. And you can describe what you want in natural language and create that, whether it's an app, an LWC, you use plain language, and you can also preview right inside of VS Code with our new live preview extension. The Salesforce trust layer is built in by default. We also will generate tests for you and do code analysis to make sure that what you're building makes sense. And we have a whole suite of MCP servers, MCP tools, and skills so that when you're vibing, it all just works, right? And it's all packaged together through Agentforce Vibes. And this is flexible everywhere. So you can use this as a VS Code extension or in the browser as Agentforce Vibes IDE. But maybe you are using something else like Cursor or Claude, and we recognize that too. A lot of these things can be brought in, like our Salesforce DX MCP. So if you want all the goodness, you can bring it to where you're already working today. Now, I'm going to do a quick vibe coding demo as well. So just to show you the power of this, and this is brand new. So I'm going to ask Agentforce Vibes to create a card leveraging Lightning base components. Let's go ahead and run that. OK, so Vibes is starting to run that. And what we're going to do is we're going to see it start vibe coding, and then as it creates the component, we're actually going to preview that directly inside the IDE. So it's making a bunch of calls, it's writing the code right in front of us. It's really cool to see. Let's give it some time as it creates these new files. All right, so now it's creating the HTML. You already saw it create the JavaScript. And as it gets far enough, I'm going to kick off the live preview so we can actually see the component that it built. All right, now it's doing the CSS. Want to make sure that the component looks pretty. All right, now it's creating the JS meta file. It's almost done. It's doing a few more modifications. All right, it is finished. So now what we're going to do is we are going to open Lightning Preview and take a look at the component it built. And this is a live demo. I haven't run this before. It just created this, and this is what the component looks like. So if you're vibe coding, you tell Agentforce Vibes what you want, and then you can launch the live preview and see what it's actually going to look like in your org. You can then tell Vibes to deploy this to your org and use it in your org. All right. So while we're on the topic of vibes, I'm going to pass it to Shalini, who's going to tell us about mobile vibing.
Right, thanks, Ben. Thanks for introducing us to Agentforce Vibes. Agentforce Vibes is definitely a game changer for building LWCs, not just for web, but also for mobile. Let me just start by asking this question. How many of you have already built mobile LWCs? I see a few hands. Well, if you have built mobile experiences or if you are planning to build some in the near future, you probably are already aware of Nimbus plugins. It is our native bridge that allows your LWCs to access mobile native capabilities such as camera, contact, calendar, barcode scanners, and stuff like that. But even with Nimbus, let's be honest, it's not that easy to handle all the complex code, hardware callbacks, syntax, everything. It takes a bit to understand the nitty-gritties. So what if I tell you that you no longer need to be a Nimbus expert in order to build amazing mobile experiences? Yes, you heard it right. That is possible today with Agentforce Vibes. Our most popular Nimbus plugins, which is barcode scanner and user location and biometrics, all three of them are already GA. You can go ahead, use them with Agentforce Vibes, and build mobile LWCs with native capabilities. And I just want to make sure that we are not just talking about net new code, but also about the existing code. We all have existing LWCs that needs to work scenarios where there is no network connectivity. And when we are talking about converting our existing code to make it offline compatible, we are suddenly worrying about concepts like data priming, local caching, and the most dreaded offline-ready checklist. We don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Agentforce Vibes. So this feature is also GA with Agentforce Vibes. This comes out of the box with our DXMCP server. You just need to use an existing LWC, ask Agentforce Vibes to optimize it for offline, and it will do the job for you. So let's just see this in action here. As a Salesforce developer today, I want to build an LWC that is mobile friendly, and it displays my current location in an LWC component. So I've just given this prompt to Agentforce Vibes. Now I just sit back, relax, and see what Agentforce Vibes is going to do for me. So as you can see, within a few seconds, it did not just read my prompt, but also understood my intent, figured out which MCP tool it needs to call, and started creating the files that it needs to create to build the LWC that I requested. And if you look at the Agentforce panel here in the right, it's not a black box, right? It is giving me all the information about what actions it is taking, what files it is creating, what modifications it is making. And we can see that happening right in front of eyes without doing anything. So at this point, I can say, like, if you want to build amazing mobile experiences, you don't need to know the nitty-gritties of mobile development, or even for this matter, the geolocation APIs that you need to use for building these LWCs. So right now, it is building the JavaScript file. It has already built HTML, and now it is making sure that it looks beautiful, building the CSS file. This is a game changer, in my opinion. I just need to tell what I need, focus on my business logic, and I have a pair programmer with me who actually codes and build those experiences for me. All right, it is still at work, building the last few files, and it has completed. So I see this LWC current location has been created for me. Let's just go and deploy this to org and see how this will look in a real device. So I have this org open here. I have a Lightning page here, and I have a simulator here. So let me search for current location. I don't have anything else with this LWC, so let me just refresh this page and see if this is already deployed. And there we go. So I'll just put this to this page and hit save. And I'll give it a moment before I refresh this simulator here and see what LWC got created for us. It might take a while to refresh, so I'm going to refresh it once again. And there you go. You have this LWC, which has this beautiful button here, clicking on which I get my exact location. I did not have to write a single piece of code to get here. And this is just a very basic use case that I showed you. You can definitely build more complex use cases that you need to support. Yeah. All right, so this was about generating the LWC. I would also like to show you the other feature that we have for making sure our existing LWCs work in offline scenarios. So here I have a prompt that asks Agentforce to optimize the account industry LWC that I have already created here for offline use. So I'll just hit enter here. And as you can see, this is the JavaScript file here. I'm trying to fetch account records filtered by industry. And as you can see, as a lot of us, just trying to make sure if the mic is working. So as a lot of us, when we are moving fast, this GraphQL query is currently in line to the wire adapter, which is not an ideal way to do if we are trying to use this LWC in an offline scenario. So I've just asked Agentforce Vibes. It is going to make the changes, but I think it actually did not. So yeah. It happens sometimes. There are some hallucinations, but I'll just show you. This is, I had created this optimization earlier, and it had actually gone ahead, done the changes, and put this GraphQL query outside in a separate getter method. So this is exactly the behavior that you would want when you want to run this for an offline scenario. So if we are already writing code and trying to understand all the nitty-gritties of mobile development, this is the time that you start vibing and have Agentforce work for you. And with that, I would pass it back to Clay to take us through the roadmap.
Thank you, Shalini. Yeah, so with that, here's our roadmap. Folks want to take a picture. So like we mentioned, we showed a lot of different things today. Template expressions going GA in the summer. We have State Manager going GA in summer. We have Lightning Out 2.0 for experience sites and support for SLES 2 going GA. You saw Release Manager, a new way for us to release features out. And a lot more on the roadmap planned. So yeah.